Here. All right, y'all. Good morning. Welcome again. Let's jump in and get started because I want to give you guys as much time as possible to work on our activity for today. Um, Welcome. I know we have maybe one or two new people with us. So again, if it says English 1 for second period for Tuesdays on your schedule, you are in the right spot. Those of us who were here last class, which was Friday, right? You should recall that we were working in Nearpod with those um, sticky note kind of collaborate boards. And we were dealing with a lot of questions that had to do with if we were designing our own school curriculum, what would we include? Um, and a lot of you had really, really good stuff. We saw a lot of answers about um, entrepreneurial classes, how to start your own business, um, how to make money. Um, we talked about, who should decide, who gets to learn the classes, or who do we think decides now? And some of us said the students decide based on our skill level. Some of us said, teachers, principals decide, things like that. A lot of good answers. All right. What we're going to do today is we're going to take that kind of intro activity for the project one step further. And you guys are actually going to create your own course. If you were the superintendent or the principal of a school and you were designing a curriculum, you're going to create your own course based on what you think students in like a ninth grade class should learn. So it's going to be similar to kind of what we did on Friday, except now you're actually going to be putting it into action. Because remember, the whole goal of this project is about fiction versus nonfiction, right? Which one is more important? Which one should we have more of in school based on the value that we get out of it? And speaking of value, the value of this class just increased. Our celebrity guest, Miss Kelsey, who has just joined us. Good morning.
Hi, everyone. So good to see you all.
All right.
What class you have here? Some rock stars.
I know they are killing it today so far. All right. So does that make sense? Questions so far on what we're doing today? Okay, what do I like everybody to do if you have not already is I want you to head to Summit, log in, and I want you to pull up our class, which should be English 1. I should say English 1, yes, Philly. Okay? And you should have checkpoint 1 assigned to you already. Okay? So I want you to go ahead, take a minute or two and do that now. I will share my screen here in a sec. And who else has just joined us? Hey, Sammy, good morning. All right, so again, if you are just joining us, I want you to head to Summit and log in and pull up our class, which is English 1. Let me put that in the chat as well. English 1, and then our project is called Fact or Fiction. Okay. So go ahead and head there now. All right. I'm going to share my screen real quick and show you what we're going to be accessing. Let me do that.
I'm not assigned to checkpoint 1.
Who was that?
Okay.
Quinche.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me double check my
You gotta do
I-
mine too.
here. Let me make sure everybody is assigned. Oh, you know what? I might have not assigned you guys again because I was editing the checkpoint. Yes. Okay. My apologies. That should be fixed now. All right. So if you have the class pulled up and you don't have a checkpoint one, refresh your page. You might have to do it 2 or 3 times, but if you refresh your page now, you should see checkpoint one come up. I'd unassigned everybody because I was editing the checkpoint. I forgot to reassign you guys, so my fault there. But now you should be good. All right. Let me get my student view going here so I can show you guys what this should look like if you're still
You said do checkpoint one.
all right. Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen right now and tell you guys what we're gonna access.
Why are you asking me for the same thing that you got, bro? What? What's that? I'm gonna take this.
All right, so this is what you should be seeing. Okay, so you come to Summit. All right. Oops, excuse me. You come to Summit. It looks like this. All right, and then you go to your year view. All right, and you scroll down to you see English 1, yes, Philly, and then you want fact or fiction, okay? And then you should see, again, checkpoint 1 like this, all right? And when you click on checkpoint 1, we're going to scroll down till we see the second link here, entry event, what I learned at school today challenge, all right? And then when you click that, it should look like this, okay? And that's what you should have pulled up on your screen. That's what we're going to be working from today. So when you are there and you have that pulled up, give me a thumbs up or a yes in the chat so that I know you got it. All right. All right. Do this. And again, what you are looking at should look like what I have on my screen. It should say entry event, what I learned challenge. All right. And again, you're finding that by clicking on checkpoint 1, identifying theme, and then scroll down. It should be the second link right here. All right, what I learned at school today challenge. And then you click that, and it should look like this. All right. So again, when you find that, get it pulled up, please give me a thumbs up or a yes in the chat. I got a yes from Shabria, from Desiree. Nishan says he got that, John, which is excellent. Thank you. All right, I got a yes from Quinn Shea. Thank you. All right. Lots of folks in here today. Full house, which is excellent. So we'll give everybody another minute or two so I can hear from just about everybody that they have it pulled up. All right. So still haven't heard from Sammy Tehran. All right. Amir Tyquil. Let me know if you guys have this pulled up. Thank you, Kira. All right. Everybody, like I said, maybe another minute here. All right, Tyquil, thank you. All right, ladies and gents, while the last few of us are pulling this up, here is what the deal is. Like I said, Friday, those of you who were here should remember we were discussing a bunch of those different questions regarding, what courses would we have in our school if we got to pick them. And like I said, there were a bunch of really good ones talking about how to start a business, how to manage your money and financials, how to build credit, all that sort of things. What kind of materials would we look at? What kind of art would we see? We had a couple Mona Lisas. We had a couple Leonardo da Vinci's, I think, right? So I want you to think about all that. And this is how we're going to kind of wrap up our intro to this project, is actually creating that course. So the activity you all have pulled up, these are going to be your directions, okay, for how you're going to do this. And you can see it says in our directions up here, you will design a course plan that briefly describes a full year of study for ninth grade students. You may come up with a course on any topic, and it may be a course that already exists or a course that you completely make up with your team. Disregard the team part. I forgot to edit that part out because we're doing this on our own, based on what you would like to learn in ninth grade. Now, this says ninth grade. I know all of us are at different levels, but just a high school course in general, right? Now, here is the important stuff, right? Your course plan should include a title of the course, right? 2 to 3 course projects, including project titles, all right? Each title should include a list of major topics that you will learn about, questions to be answered in the project, books, websites, newspapers, or other texts you will read, and then tasks you will complete, okay? Now, I'm going to show you an example of this in a second here. I know it seems like a lot right now, but I'm going to show you all this, and it's much easier than it sounds. All right. Your presentation may be completed using Google Slideshow or another web app. Your slideshow must include the title of the course, 1 to 3 visuals representing the course overall, the title of each project, 1 to 3 visuals representing each project. All right. Your presentation must include a verbal explanation and a verbal explanation of the course and of each project. Now, the presentation stuff we may get to, we may not. That's a little bit trickier when we're doing the virtual stuff, but I definitely should receive one from all of you. So that's the kind of basic overview, right? Question first about anything before I show you my example of what this should look like. Anybody not understanding anything? Anybody not finding this on Summit or having any Summit issues? Anything like that? All right, awesome. So, like it says in the directions, it should be done using Google Slides. So I have an example for you, all right, that I made on Google Slides. All right. Now, mine is obviously only 3 slides because I didn't want to do the whole thing for you guys. I want to have you guys to have some room to be creative. Well, but I did just enough to show you guys how you should be modeling yours. So let me present mine right here. All right. So you can see, you can give it a title slide, Mr. V's course plan, right? So, excuse me. Here is one of my courses. And again, if you go back to your directions, remember, you're coming up with 2 to 3 course projects for your course. All right. So you should have a title of the course and then 2 to 3 different projects. So again, this is, you're imagining, okay, you're the superintendent or the principal, you're designing the curriculum. What's one course you want to include that you think, high school students should learn? All right. And like they said, it could be something that already exists and you're just modifying it. It could be something you totally make up. We have a lot of people, like I said, that were passionate about business and entrepreneurship when we were having the discussions on Friday. So that's probably what I'm going to see a lot of, which is great. Something I'm passionate about is music, right? So my course is rock and roll history. Okay. And now here's my one visual, right? So now here is one of my projects, okay? The first one is the history of rock and roll research paper. Now you can see I've listed all of those things that I have to include. I have the major topics, which are going to be key rock and roll artists, figures, influences of rock and roll, all right, and rock and roll's impact on music today, right? And then I list the questions that this project is going to answer. How did rock and roll get its start? Who are the pioneers of rock and roll, and how does rock and roll still influence music today, right? What are the materials that we're going to use to answer these questions? So one is going to be Rolling Stone magazine. The other is going to be an article from the New Yorker that I've listed here. The other is going to be the Film School of Rock. Okay. And notice how I have a couple different mediums. I have 2 magazines and 1 movie. Maybe you include a book, a magazine, and a movie. Maybe you include a book and a website article, whatever it might be. But try to, kind of diversify the materials that you use. And then, okay, what's the task we're going to complete? It's going to be a 1 to 2 page research paper. All right. And now that would complete, one of my projects. I have everything I need. Like it says in your directions, you need 2 to 3 course projects. So I would, think about, okay, what's another project I could include for this course? All right. What do you guys think? If I were designing this, I have 1 project already, which is a history of rock and roll research paper. What would be another project I could include in a rock and roll history course? What comes to mind that you think would be a good project to do? You can tell me in the chat or you can come off mute, but what else might I include here if I had to list 1 or 2 more projects? What might be something that students could do as a project in this, if this was a class? Anybody with a thought? Again, like I said, you can put it in the chat or you can come off mute, but, think about different courses you've had, throughout school and, the projects you've done for those courses. Like even on Summit, like in chemistry or biology, like, okay, we're growing our own plants. And then we're gonna write about the reactions and stuff in a paper or something like that. So if I had to come up with another project for my course that I'm designing called Rock and Roll History, I already have a research paper about rock and roll history. What might be another project I can include in this course if I were doing this? And again, there's no right or wrong here because I'm designing it myself. So it's kind of up to my interpretation. But if you guys were designing this course with me, what would be another kind of project we could include here? What's something else that students could do to show that they've learned about rock and roll history?
Mr. V.
What's up?
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you explain that again? Because I'm trying to get ready for work and do this at the same time, and I wasn't listening.
No worries. So I'm just kind of going over my example of the assignment you guys are going to do, and I've gone over, what each of the projects you list for your course should look like. So I've listed, okay, here's what the project is, here's the major topics, the questions we're going to answer, the materials we're going to use, the tasks we're going to complete, right? But for the assignment, you guys have to have 2 or 3 projects, right? I only have 1 in my example. So what I'm asking people now is, if I were to continue with this example, what might be another project I can include, all right? What else would be a project that might make sense for a rock and roll history class?
It has to be related with like rock and roll music. And stuff.
Just for my, yeah, yours doesn't, but just for the sake of my example, so I know people understand kind of what we're doing here. If I were continuing to design this class, what might be another project I could include?
Well, if you're doing rock and roll, you could do R&B, I guess.
Say it again.
You can do R&B.
R&B. Okay, so maybe different musical influences, like Desiree put hip hop history too. So those are really good titles for like other courses, right? Like, okay, I have rock and roll history. Now I want to do hip hop or R&B history. But if we're just focusing on this course, rock and roll history, and we're trying to come up with different projects within that course, and one of the projects I already have is a history of rock and roll research paper. What else might we do? What might be another good project? Think about like other projects you've done in courses, like how it usually goes. Okay, like do I write a paper and then do I have to present something? Do I write a paper and then do I have to like make a PowerPoint or like perform something? Something like that. So like if I was continuing to design this course, maybe another project would be we have to analyze the lyrics of a rock and roll song or something like that. Or what else? Any other, like what else could I include as a project for this course?
Can you say outline? I don't know.
Say it one more time.
Outline?
An outline would be a good one. Yeah. So maybe I could add that, and before you do the history paper, you have to do an outline that kind of outlines a timeline of rock and roll history. That'd be a good one. Good job. Or maybe I would have to kind of do a profile on a famous, rock and roll artist. So maybe I pick Chuck Berry or Elvis or Fats Domino or, the Beatles or one of those guys. And I kind of do a profile on like this is their career and what they accomplished. Those could all be other projects that would fall under this course of rock and roll history. And now some of you mentioned other courses like, oh yeah, and Kira just said study of the Beatles. Yeah, exactly. So like an artist study. And then Desiree mentioned hip hop history. So maybe if that was my course, I'd do the same thing but related to hip hop. So I do an outline of hip hop history, and then maybe I chronicle the early stages of rap, like in the 70s and 80s, what we have now, or whatever it might be. But this just gives you an example of how you're taking one course and then coming up with, okay, what are the different projects I would include, in that course. So if somebody's course was about entrepreneurship, maybe one project is, researching how to start a business, and then you write a paper. And then maybe another project is, shadowing somebody in their office, or whatever it might be, or things like that. But again, you're imagining, okay, if I was designing a curriculum and I was designing my own course, what I think should be taught in school, what would that course be, and what would the projects be that we would complete in that course, right? So is this making sense? Questions about this?
No, it makes sense now.
Cool. Thank you, Shabria. Anybody else with questions, concerns? All right, awesome job. Miss Kelsey, do you have any ideas of what your course would be if you were designing a curriculum? Besides playing with my dog 101?
I'm good at that. Actually, that would probably be part of it. Like, I think I always stay in the sphere of like counseling and stuff that's related to it. And I think that it would be really interesting to do a whole course on like wellness and because we always talk about like mental illness, but I don't think we talk about the other side of it, is like, how do we flourish and how do we, have the best life that we can be? And what are the things that are unique to everyone that make life better for us? Because everyone has unique skills and interests. And so there's so many different things that we can do that, help us feel better, like listening to music or exercising or sleeping enough. And so I think that's not something that we always talk about enough.
Yeah, for sure. So it sounds like if Miss Kelsey was designing her course, the title would be like wellness, right? And then maybe one of the projects is researching different ways you can promote wellness, like she was just mentioning. Like you can listen to music, you can meditate, you can walk, and then maybe we put that in a paper. And then maybe another project would be like, okay, I practice one of these for 30 minutes every day and I write a reflection about it. That's another project that all fall within that same course. Okay, so just to connect these dots of what you are doing here in this assignment. All right, so ladies and gents, we have about 25 minutes left morning. All right, again, you should be doing this in Google Slides or PowerPoint if you have that, whatever works best for you. You can utilize this resource in Summit as your directions page and your kind of guideline of what you should have. And they're all listed here. And everything that's listed here, I included in my example, right? So if you see my example, and again, we're recording class, so this is going to be up on the Yes Philly YouTube. So if you want to go back there to watch, to refresh your brain or have this example up with you, that's fine, right? But everything you need to have, I have on mine. I have the title of the course. I have a little picture, right, or a visual. I have, and I list the projects. I have the title of the project, and then everything you need. So if I was continuing this, I would list 2 or 3. I would list 1 or 2 more projects so that I have a total of 2 or 3, right? And then be prepared to explain everything that you've put in there. And then I have a visual for my project as well, okay? And then when you make this on Google Slides and you're done, share it with me at my Yes Philly email. I should have these by, right? If not the end of class on Friday, then first thing Monday morning, so that they can be included on our first progress report, which is coming out next week, okay? So you guys have the rest of this morning. We'll have all of class Friday, and then that should be more than enough time to get this done. If not, then at the very, very latest, I will look for it at 8 a.m. Monday so that I can still include it on progress reports, okay? But what I'd like you to do now is go ahead and I'm going to turn you guys loose to start working on this. You can feel free to stay in the chat and work on it here in case you have questions. If you want to leave the chat and work offline and then come back if you have a question, that works too. I know some of us might not be at our laptops right now. We're going to work on it later. So that's fine. Like I said, we're recording, so it'll be up on the Yes Philly YouTube. And I'll also be in the Summit Lab, as will your other teachers today from 1 to 3. So again, remember, it's just the same link for class. A couple quick housekeeping things before everybody breaks out. Report card night will be this Thursday from 5:30 to 6:30. So it will be virtual, so you and your parents or guardians can access the Zoom link and ask questions about report cards, graduation, term 3, term 4, anything like that. The teachers and the staff will all be there, so we encourage you to attend. Also, like I said, progress reports, everything is due this Friday, then they're going to come out next week. Your report cards should be coming to you in the mail probably tomorrow, if not today. And I'm forgetting one other thing. Oh, no school next Monday. And then if we do have any graduates here, our virtual graduation will be this Friday at 3. Okay. So I think those are all of my housekeeping announcements. All right. So, like I said, I'm going to turn it over to you guys to get working on your course plan. Doing it on Google Slides, sharing it with me when you're done. Should include all the things listed on this page that you can, again, access under checkpoint 1. All right. Identifying theme, and you scroll down, and it is the second link right here. What I learned at school today challenge. And then it should look like this, and this gives you the guidelines of what to include. You can put it in your Google slide just like mine, okay? So I will be in the chat. If you want to work in here, that's fine. If you want to work offline, also fine. I will be here for questions, and I will wrap it up in about the next 15 minutes or so. All right. Really, really good job. Thank you for everybody who shared in the chat. All right. So get going on this. I will be here if you have questions. And thank you, guys.